Welcome to the Money Watch Show. It's Tuesday, December 31st. It's New Year's Eve. I'm not a huge fan of New Year's Eve, but whatever. I'm happy. I'm home. I'll be very cozy. I hope you are too. Mark, what's your New Year's Eve kind of plan in general? Like, do you have a ritual around it?
Well, it's always a huge Chinese feast.
Tell me more. I should be there, but tell me more.
Yeah, that's what we do every year. We always order from the same restaurant in Midtown Manhattan, believe it or not. You wouldn't expect that to be where my favorite Chinese restaurant is, but that's where it is. Cafe China, and it is good.
And then do you watch movies? What do you do?
No, we don't watch movies. But I mean, It's New Year's Eve, so I'm sure there'll be a full college football game on. But no, we get together with Amanda's parents, and then a couple of other friends that we know that usually do this with us, also Chinese. Okay. And
That's so nice.
I associate New Year's Eve with the Chinese feast.
Okay, I love it. I do nothing. I think that sometimes we've gone out, and I'm like, I don't really want to go out. It's like it's amateur hour. It's like going out on New Year's Eve or on Valentine's Day. It is an absolute amateur hour, and it's like exhausting, and I can't even start. So that said, I'm sure we'll do nothing, but that's fine. I'm happy to do nothing. We have some people who will be leaving, which is good. So some guests that will be leaving, and I'm always happy to have them leave. Jackie just got these new napkins for like guest bathroom, like hand towels. And it says, please leave by 9. That's how we roll, baby.
I got to get those.
Yeah, that is me. Just leave. What are you sticking around for? I didn't tell you to stick around. Leave. Anyway, Mark, I wish you the very happiest of New Year's. And today we're going to talk to Amanda, who is joining us from Colorado. Hello, Amanda. How are you?
Hey, Jill. I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Great that you are with us. What can we do for you?
Yeah. So we've had a couple of curveballs thrown at us the last few years, and I'm just looking for advice to see if we're on track or if we could be doing something better.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's me and my husband. We're 43 and 44.
Okay.
We have 2 young boys that are 9 and 11.
Mm-hmm.
We're both 100% commission employees.
Oh boy. So that's tough.
It is. It is. I'm a mortgage lender, and he owns his own recruiting company.
What's the total income? I know you're both commission, but what's the total income?
So this year we're on track to make, I'll probably do about 175.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has had, his industry with recruiting has been terrible. So this year we'll probably clear 60 with him.
Okay. Are you making retirement contributions for yourselves?
We are. In the past, we've had our income substantially higher. Mm-hmm. And so we've normally put $50,000 a year into his SEP plan.
Mm-hmm.
I usually max out whatever my employer will give us.
Mm-hmm.
And then we contribute also to a brokerage account.
Okay. So that's good. So why don't you just give us a breakdown right now of how much money you have in those various accounts?
Okay.
So the SEP, how much is in there?
We have about $590,000 in that one.
Okay. That's great.
All in all, in our retirement accounts, 401ks, Roths, the SEP plan, we have about 1.15.
Okay. 1.15. What part of this money is actually Roth?
That is only about 25,000. We just haven't been able to contribute to them, so we just haven't.
Like when you take the hit to the income, what is what gives the contribution to the retirement account? Like what's the thing that you feel like happens there?
Last year was an anomaly. He earned nothing last year. It was absolutely zero. There was,
holy smokes.
It was, and the year before we earned about 600,000. So we've had a very
that's crazy.
Yes. So that's why I'm calling. We're trying to figure out, when we understand, we're commission, but when we've had so many good years in a row, you think it's going to go on forever. And then you have a year like last year that absolutely knocked us for a loop. On top of that, since I'm in mortgages had a bad year last year also. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, my health is not great. I was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, breast cancer, a couple of years ago.
Oh no, that sucks.
It does. And it's expensive.
Yeah. No
Cancer is
kidding.
really expensive. So we had been on track to really, my plan had been that once we turned 50, we would have the option to retire. Whether or not we wanted to was a different story.
Right.
And then we had 2023 happen. And I mean, it really has changed a lot of my views. You know, my health is not great. His industry just absolutely fell off a cliff. So what do we do now to maybe hedge our bets a little bit now that we're not kind of living high on the hog with how we've been living?
Okay. How old are the kids?
They're 9 and 11.
They're young.
Yeah,
And they're in public school right now?
they are.
Okay. And do you feel like, how can I do this? Do you feel that we can kind of get a hold or a handle on the money that it costs to live your lives? Do you have those numbers?
I do. I have a spreadsheet with everything on it. You're talking to a banker, so I love a
Nice.
spreadsheet.
Okay. What do you spend?
We spend $12,500 a month. And a chunk of that is for medical. You know, I hit my deductible every year. We also have a 10-year mortgage with 9 years left on it.
Oh my God. What's the house worth?
It's worth about 1.4 and we owe 260 on it.
And do you love it? Do you want to stay there? Like, what's the game plan?
We love it. It's perfect. We can walk to work. We can walk to school. It's great.
Okay. All right. At the very least, we have got to figure out how you can keep this up for some foreseeable future, because, I mean, you still have life that you have to support, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have life insurance that pre-exists this condition?
I do. It's very difficult to get life insurance after cancer.
Yeah, you're done. There's no way.
Yes.
You're not qualifying.
Right. I have a $250,000 policy I had prior, and then I'm able to get $200,000 with my current employer. So I'm at $450,000.
Okay.
Which I figure would, you know, something happened, would pay the house off and get the boys through college.
Right. Do you have money saved for the boys already and for college, or not really?
We do. We have a 529 plan for each of them, and each has about 35,000 in it.
And are you contributing to those, or were you contributing those?
We are. We do about $370 a month for both of them. So split that for each kid.
I feel like you don't need to do that right now. I feel like I need to concentrate on some other things.
Okay.
Under 1.15 million. Can you just let me know, what is the amount that's in non-retirement asset?
So in addition to that, we have 460,000 in brokerage accounts.
Okay. That makes me feel a lot better, because I was sweating right there.
We've got quite a bit of real estate too that I wanted to go over. That
Tell me more. Oh,
Yeah.
Holding back. Oh,
Yes.
you
Let me
lured
go back
me
to
into,
spreadsheet.
oh my God, she's got stage 3 breast cancer. The world's coming to an end. Now I'm going to find out about all the rental property. Here we
Yes.
go. What else is out there? Other real estate.
So we've got we own a home that's valued at probably $450,000 that we rent out, and that gross is $1,950 a month.
Oh,
And
okay.
that's very low. We keep the rent low
Because you want
purposely.
nice people.
Yes, and everybody needs a break, so that's kind of where we can contribute somewhere along the way.
And I'll tell you who needs a break. You need a break. Is there a mortgage on that 450?
There's not.
What else?
We also own a bare piece of land that's 9 acres along a river. That's, we think, probably valued at $450,000, maybe $600,000. It's a fairly rare piece of land that we would like to build a home on someday.
You already have a house. You already said you love your house.
Well, we bought this prior to cancer and when the boys were very small. So
9 acres. That's like almost the size of the entire island of Manhattan. Honest to God, it is.
yeah.
So you want to keep that, is what you're
We'd
telling
love
me.
to, yes.
But you could sell it. Like if something happened where you were like, okay, my husband, I think the recruiting market's going to shift a little bit because but let's just say that all right, recruiting is stinky. And let's say that you're like, you know what? Screw it. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. You would be willing to sell it at some point.
We would.
If you
yes.
had to.
Yes.
Okay.
And that costs us about $145 a month in taxes. And that's it. We don't have a mortgage.
Yeah, it's
There's
pretty
no-
easy.
Yeah. And then we also own a commercial space that is valued about 200,000, and that has no mortgage on it as well.
And what is that in terms of what is that cash flow to you? You're renting it, right?
Well, my husband owns it, and then my company actually pays him rent.
Oh,
My company pays $500 a month, and the HOA is $500 a month.
all right. So he's breaking even on
it's
this.
about a wash there, yeah.
So what's the dilemma for you? You are a numbers person. What is noodling around for you?
So the plan was, we get to 50, we have, a tremendous amount of retirement assets. We were going to start contributing to the brokerage accounts so we could tap into those prior to retirement age. And then I got sick and my husband's business just came to a standstill. So we've got a gap now between about 44 to 62, where if I just decide I can't work anymore, I don't want to, my husband's industry really never recovers. What do we do?
Well, you're going to have to sell some real estate, I guess. That's what I think. You're 43 and 44. We have 6 or 7 years here where we're going to make some money. I think the ideal would be to have, you've got this 460 grand in the brokerage. So you've got like $1.5 million while his income is down and you pull back on his SEP contribution, right?
Right.
You can just kind of, I would sort of think about brokerage account as like where things land. Yes, you can do Roths. That's fine. It's perfect. You're not going to have a huge, it's not going to be one way or the other. I just want to say you're a mortgage lender. You're 100% commission, but you're an employee, right?
I am. Technically, I am a W-2 employee at the end of the year.
Okay. And so does that mean that's where you get your insurance?
Yes.
Okay. So can you do a little bit less for them, even at age 50, just to get health insurance or not?
I can. That's hard because when the phone rings, that's how I make my money. And to not answer is very difficult.
I see.
But that's self-control. That's just practice.
Yeah, because I'd like to be able to have that health insurance coverage for you, even if it's just like, I don't know. Let's say you don't have it. Let's just say you're like, I'm done in 7 years. Well, let's just say that your husband makes less money. You keep making, listen, interest rates are coming down. You should get busier and busier. But let's just say that you have cyclical stuff and that your incomes, you'll save a little bit, but basically your net income is essentially what you need to live on. Your $12,000, $500 a month, right? Your 12.5. You'll be able to create that from your income. Let's just pretend you're making 200 grand a year. That's about what you need gross to do your 12.5. So between the two of you, we need 200 grand. You feel confident that for the next 6 or 7 years, you can do that?
I do.
Okay. So we got that covered. The question is, if you have, let's say you're $2,000 a month from your real estate, or you have a couple of $1,000s a month, where does that go? I would suggest that doesn't necessarily, I'd love for your kids to go to college and you can pay for it, but I'm more concerned that you guys have money accessible, that if something were to happen where you have to stop working sooner, that you have access to that money and it's not locked in the 529 account. That's my inclination. Does that sit with you okay?
My big concern is if something did happen to me, is that the boys are taken care of. And in my mind, that would be that they get through a state college, a state university, debt-free. I see so much student debt when I'm working on homes for people.
Yeah, sure.
That's really a sticking point with me, that they don't have any school debt after 4 years.
All right. Well, they'll have that as long as you make sure that your husband says, you say to your husband, I want there to be money that is allocated to education. And you can make that allocation. You can make this something you say, out of my brokerage account, I want to fund education. I want to do this. I want to do that. You're going to be closer in 7 years. We have the 11-year-old is ready to go to college, right? So you have that available. You'll be able to use your brokerage account to pay for that. You could right now, if you wanted to, put some money from the brokerage account into the 529 accounts, but then you'll lose access to it. And if something bad happens health-wise, I don't know how you feel about that, but you've got to rely on your husband to say, you got to sell that land. You got to sell that commercial property. Something has to give here so that we can fund the kids. And that's a conversation between the two of you. In fact, I would say the life insurance part of it is that you have this 250. I wouldn't care about paying off that stupid house. I bet your mortgage is cheap. I would have 250 available and say, oh, you know what I want for that 250? I want that to go to college.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, the mortgage is like 2.375, I think.
It's a weird thing. You have a bad diagnosis, but you are well aware of this and you are alive. And, who knows, like God willing, everything good happens for you,
Right.
but
Right.
it's a hard thing to plan for that. I mean, I'll tell you what, if you're like my buddy, you're my niece, because I actually have nieces who are 43 and 44 years old. I'd be like, pull the trigger on the land, get out of it, give me that money. And let's fund your 529 accounts. Let's put some money in the brokerage account, but that robs you of your dream. And so I'm a dream crusher in this sense, but that's what I would do. If you are my niece, that's what I would do. Mark, what would you say to Amanda in Colorado? Would you want to keep the dream alive? She suffered so much. I'm such an idiot that I'm saying this to her.
Yeah, I think for the time being, I would keep it alive, but I like knowing that it's there as a security blanket.
Totally. And I want you to be able to know that it's there as a security blanket, not as in this sacrosanct thing that you are going to must keep. You know what I mean? Like that's what's important to me.
Yeah. I'm viewing it as an insurance policy. In lieu of life insurance, I've got that property that we could sell.
That's exactly it. But yeah, again, you got to be willing to sell it. And he has to be willing to sell it. If you're willing to do that, I'm willing to do that. I would not if you're feeling cash flow strain though, right now, you have enough strain in your life. Okay. I would alleviate that strain by pulling back. I wouldn't necessarily put a ton of money into the 529. I would put some modest amount of money in my Roth accounts and capture a match, but that's it. I'm not going much beyond that because there is no reason that at this point, unless your husband starts making a bunch of money again, or all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm not making 175, Jill, I'm making 3 and he's making 50 and life's good, then sure, go ahead and keep funding stuff. But with the idea that you must preserve money in this kind of in the back of your mind, the, oh my God fund, like something bad has happened. We must have access to some money.
Right. Okay. I like the oh my God fund. That's
yeah. You like it, the OMG. I was going to say something else, but it's just a very family friendly program.
By the way, you guys have kicked serious butt. I mean, you're young. You have so much money saved. You have all these properties. You guys are doing awesome.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing awesome. I'm just worried. I'm a nervous Nelly, I mean, but the thing is I'm a nervous Nelly because I see a lot of assets on a balance sheet, a good chunk of which you cannot touch.
Right.
Right. So when I see $1.2 million in an asset on the left side of a balance sheet and no corresponding liability, and it's like, oh, it's 1.2 million. Oh, you can't have that. That makes me, Jill, not Jill on money, but Jill Schlesinger. That makes me anxious. If you guys are okay with it and you're willing to pull the trigger and make that a liquid asset, then that is up to you. Okay. That's really, but I'll tell you that just my personality is I love liquidity and I get nervous if there is a bad diagnosis and a lack of liquidity. That makes me anxious.
It absolutely hit us out of the blue. I mean, we had no idea this was coming. We thought we were on track for 50. And when this diagnosis popped up, it was the same thing. We have all these assets that we can't touch. Yeah.
I mean, you can. Just remember, you can touch your assets, but you have to proactively do something about it.
Right.
Okay. Let's breathe together. I feel good. I feel better about it. You are in financial good shape. I just want you to know that we are rooting for you. And I don't want you to be discouraged by this call. This is also a lot about my own worry about that, which is less of a worry overall, but I worry for people who are in your situation. So, as long as you know what those risks are and you're willing to assume them, with all the other risks that you have in your life. And I'm not here to rob you of a dream. Someone who has a bad diagnosis deserves to have any dream she wants. All right. So, what else can we do for you?
A lot of my retirement plans, I have actually with a money manager. Mm-hmm. My husband likes to manage his own. Yeah. I don't have an appetite for stocks. I'm more about the real estate.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's a good idea that we're paying a money manager to?
How much are you paying?
I think he gets 0.5% a year on our balances.
0.5% is not a lot. Are they doing any financial planning for you?
Just really managing the assets we have with them in the brokerage accounts. And
Yeah.
then,
I mean, that's not great. Only that, but I mean, it's not terrible, but 0.5% is not bad. Okay. I'd love it if they could, if you wanted to have somebody that they were going to do some financial planning. Where does he manage his own money? At what firm?
he is at Fidelity.
I mean, you can go to Fidelity, all right, with all of your money. You could say, here are my old Edward Jones accounts. My husband has accounts at Fidelity. I'm going to move everything to Fidelity. And you can get a Fidelity advisor for pretty cheap who could maybe do some financial planning for you also.
Okay.
They'll throw it in. It's something worth investigating.
Is that safe? Is that a good idea to have? Because right now we have Edward Jones and Fidelity. Is it a good idea to have that diversification, or is it okay to have everything at one company?
I like ease of management. Okay. So I like it all in one. I don't think Fidelity is at risk of going under, and probably not Edward Jones either. But I mean, look, if you like the person, you like working with them, and it's just easy and turnkey, and it's one more annoying thing you don't want to deal with, fine, you can leave it there. 0.5% point a year is not bad. However, if you're not getting any financial planning advice, you could literally just roll it into Fidelity, use their automatic investing platform, talk to them and see if you can get an advisor or some advice for the account when you move it over. But again, it's not, as long as that's just 0.5% point a year, it's not a lot. It really isn't. But otherwise, I think Mark is right. You're in very good financial shape.
Great.
All right.
All right.
Documents. Obviously, this must be top of mind. So I'm hopeful that all of your estate documents are done.
It is. We have custody of the kids figured out if something were to happen to both of us, and a will and a trust set up.
Okay. That sounds good. It's not easy, my friend. It is not easy. So listen, good health, good wishes. We are rooting for you guys. And if you need any other assistance, just get back in touch with us, okay?
Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
If you would like to join us next year, 2025, lots of stuff going to happen. Just go to our website, jillonmoney.com, click the contact us button, write us a note. And if you'd like to join us live, check the box. Mark will do everything else. Don't forget to sign up for the free weekly newsletter. And why don't you just bookmark the site? You're going to want to come back there all of the time. So jillonmoney.com. Mark is the co-host, executive producer, and web king. His name is officially Mark Talercio. We are distributed by Paramount Global. We drop our episodes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so take a deep breath, and we'll see you again next year. Of course, lift someone up. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thank you for listening. We'll talk to you next time.
Paramount Podcasts.